Welcome everyone, welcome to the Eurotrade, and we are testing the new time here for one day, and we'll see how it goes. If you're new here, I'm your host Marcus Stalker D. I've been trading for 18 years and I am Series 3 licensed. Oops, and I can hear myself. Hold on. Let me just... I can hear myself like with a delay, so that was like, what's going on? So I'm in a co-working space, just to clarify. So obviously it looks a little bit different and the quality is not going to be as great because I'm working off of my laptop, my portable screens, portable lights. But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, I've been trading for 18 years. I am Series 3 qualified, but I'm not a CTA. So everything you see and hear here is for educational purposes only. So familiarize yourself with the risk disclosure that Bruno posted earlier. And then we can start looking for some levels today. But yeah, so to catch you up on what's happening, I'm in a little meeting room in the old co-working space where I used to frequent when I lived in this area. And the reason for that is because one of my females is getting the snip today. And I trust my old vets, so I made sure that we're here. So it's a big day for her. She's very nervous, very anxious. So yeah. All right, let's have a look at gold. Don't know whether I'm going to be able to wrestle my laptop into copper as well, but gold looks like it's gone into a bit of a trend here. And one thing that I do every day is to mark up the Asia low, Asia high, or the way I like to call it, overnight low, overnight high. Right around the place where we have the overnight high, there is also an exhaustion level, so average daily range. So top of the average daily range, if we manage to slightly go above that, I might want to short this. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but usually when Asia goes into a trend, the first thing that typically happens into LME, which is going to be starting in about 33 minutes, 37 minutes, 37 minutes. We're going to have the LME open. And what they typically do, they take out the overnight high, then reverse it. And sometimes it actually rotates all the way through the entirety of the range. Now, when it comes to some COMEX values, I have a COMEX value high all the way down at 37.14. So that's quite a ways away. But if we ever get there, I wouldn't be opposed to doing longs in this area. So I would like to be a buyer in between 37.24 and 37.10. So it's a wide area where I can look for price action and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, how does this sound? Because obviously I have this Sennheiser lavalier microphone here, and it doesn't want to stay on me. So I have like a little suppression noise as well to make sure there's nothing coming through. That might make it a bit weird. But yeah, hopefully we can work. And of course I've got a friend, a swan. There he is. I have another friend. There's two of them. A bit random. They're quite cute though. They have like little rhinestones on them. So yeah, I'm not alone. I have co-workers. Yeah, so if you want to know what my travel laptop is, it is an Asus Duo. It is a monster for a laptop. And then I have the Team G 2 additional screens. Now, Asus Duo actually comes with 2 screens anyways. So maybe I can post the workstation on my Twitter or something, because it's quite a setup. There's like, it looks like some sort of a medical procedure because there's like wires coming out from everywhere. Right, so low-key Lucker says it sounds good. Okay. fingers crossed that we survive through this. It's only for today. Now, next Monday, I probably will have another co-working space where it's going to not be as nice as here because I'm having a power cut because I live out in the sticks. And yeah, sometimes we have power cuts, apparently. So, yeah. All right, let's see who's in the chat while we wait for LME open. Spencer Marwood, good morning, new time. Okay, so a little bit of a confusion. I know it's going to be a little bit complicated. We're kind of testing the new time today. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to go back to the old time. So it's mainly because all of the assets for the new show are not quite done yet. And we kind of wanted to roll everything out. But because we kind of agreed the time changed 2 weeks ago, I booked my dog in for surgery thinking, this is for sure going to be the new time, right? Well, it wasn't. So then I worked with a team to see whether we can move it. And this is actually a great test for, for us to see whether this is going to work better. And I know it will because this is the prime time when I look for my setups. Now, obviously, I'm not running an algorithm today because it's on my old computer. Well, not old, but my computer at home, right? That's where it is. And if I can't control the algos, that can get a bit dangerous. So we don't want that. It's just going to be me talking to you today. No bots to help me out. Fractal Firman says, hugs for your dog, D. Thank you. Trading strategies, markets, spewing some ICT language at me. Please don't. I do not speak. Me not speak ICT. I mean, I understand what they say, but it's not my way. My way is market profile, quantitative extremes, time of day, which you can argue it's kind of similar to ICT because I know he puts a lot of emphasis on the time of day as well. But yeah, so to me, I use an options chain as well, which I don't have today. I might be able to bring them up, but kind of don't want to choke the laptop too much. I mean, it can handle a lot. Yeah. Oh, interestingly, Bruno, that is exactly the one that I've got, I think. Don't know whether it's the exact same model, but that's what mine looks like. Hold on, let me see if I can like snap this up and then I can post it on my Twitter. Let's see, let's do it. Should we do it? Take some photos. I'm gonna see if I can get the wires in. This is quite crazy. I think that's got the wires in. Can't see anything because I need glasses, but did I manage to do that? Yeah, okay. It's not the best photo. It's not the best photo, but let me post that on Twitter for you guys. If you want to check out my Twitter, it's underneath this video. Topstep have kindly put it down. So we still have about half an hour until LME opens. Then we can strike. Didn't quite get all the screens in. It's annoying. Hold on. And the lights. Let me do that again because that's not very good. Let's get the lights in as well. Okay. Yes. That's ridiculous. All right, so I'm posting that on Twitter. My portable setup today. Right, it takes a while until it posts it. There it is. All right, so you should be able to see that on my Twitter. You'll see a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, so Asus Duo, 2 screens, 2 portable, a pair of lights that are not that great, I'm gonna say. Crochet, Sandy wants to know, can I share the picture on here? No, I cannot. Actually, I don't know. I can probably just share a link to Twitter. Trading Nickel says, welcome to the new time, but just once this week, eh? Yeah, so for now, tomorrow and the rest of the days are going to be still at the old time. So yeah, we're still going to watch paint dry Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I think I'm on fast markets this week on Thursday. So maybe that will be more lively. Trading Strategies Market is asking me whether I'm using the bot today. No, not today because I don't have full access to my computer. The only way I can do that is if I log into it. But because I was a little bit sleepy this morning, I left the house and I didn't switch the computer back on. So I can't even run the bot. But yeah, so I should be home later today. And then maybe, just maybe, I can catch it at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, so Sandy, most of us who are in finance and stuff, we are on Twitter because FinTwit is a very mean place, but kind of useful. Let's poll the chat. Do you think Twitter is useful? Or X, Twix? Eddie used to call it Twix. What platform am I using in the white screen? That is my main charting platform. And believe it or not, it is an old school platform. AMP Futures is the brokerage, but I use MetaTrader 5 for that because back in the day when I started in Forex. And over the years, we developed indicators for MetaTrader. Now, MetaTrader has this whole quant side of things underneath. It even has the ability to create bots and a whole bunch of stuff. You can get tick data for free that is pretty high quality because it obviously comes from the CME directly. So yeah, there are benefits to it. I can also do something that is very difficult on other platforms. So this is what we're talking about. If I go back in time, all the levels are there. So I can see how the market actually behaved with my levels of interest. And there is no lag. There is no lag. So it doesn't erase candles, but it allows me to very quickly go back to a point of interest and see exactly what happened on that day. So yeah. Sandy's asking me, where am I then? I am in Battersea. So basically, I used to live here, and my vet was literally just like at the main street area. So I took my 7 to our old vets because I don't quite trust our new vets. And even today, like when I was talking to my normal vet, she's lovely. She's probably the best doctor that I've ever seen. And she asked about the dad, who is 13. So I said, still alive? And, you know, she was so careful with him every time he needed to have a surgery. She wanted to make sure that his heart was stable. She didn't want to do unnecessary operations. Like, so good. Very unlike any vet that I've seen before. And she asked me, how is he doing? And I said, he's okay, but he is coughing more. And she said, oh, is he on water pills? And I went, well, the current vet said they can't hear any fluid in his lungs. And she said, but if it's a small amount, you wouldn't be able to hear it anyway. So I was like, should you just bring the dad, Lenny, over when we have a checkup with 7? She's like, yeah, let's do that. So again, she's still taking care of them, still thinking about them. And to me, you know, that's invaluable, right? I love those dogs like they're my actual children for kids. They are my children, just of the canine variety. So obviously I want the best for them. And if that means I have to travel into London for, well, it took me almost 2 hours today to battle London traffic, so be it. So yeah, I'm literally like 5 minutes from my old house. Disruptive Panel says, I like this time slot much better. So do I. We're going to have the LME, we have the watching paint dry in progress, right? Because since about 9:30, there's been a little bit of a push up, but really nowhere near as much as we had for Asia. It was just trending like all the way from 5 o'clock my time. It's just been going up, up and up. Then we had the little weirdness for the London Open, then another pump. But I'm interested to see what LME does, because usually what tends to happen is that it goes to the overnight high and then it breaks it, but it breaks it with like a huge volume that just spikes out of nowhere. And to me, that spells a fake out, not a breakout. So I don't care what we've done up until now. Usually LME or COMEX tend to reverse the sentiment. It could go higher, but I'm just looking at how the volume is behaving. This is where volume is quite useful for me. Let's do the volume MA. Volume moving average, right? Why do I want to see that? Because I want to see what's going on with the volume. Let me just move this away from here. What do you see on this volume curve? Is it growing? I don't think so. It's flat. See, the thing with real breakouts, like we had on Friday, the volume tends to build in the run up to the level. So if I show you, let me just see the times. All right, so here's a good example. I'm just going to find the old high. Okay, so the old high was roughly somewhere in 30, let's say 37, 33. So that was the overnight high, Asia high. Ballpark, right? Let's have a look at what the volume does in the run up to that level when it breaks it. So let me just position that properly. Right. So same thing. You have the volume moving average. See how they start to build it already on the approach to it? And if you go a little bit back, I would argue that they've been building volume already from about 4 a.m. And obviously we run into that weird period during London when nothing is going on. But then, just as it's coming up to the overnight high, the volume starts to grow. Then it breaks it, and there's no exhaustion candles here. All the candles are pretty evenly distributed, and they're just slowly rising above that moving average. Whenever there's an exhaustion candle, they tend to look about twice as big than the surrounding bars. So all the bars are like little, and then you have this one big monster that comes out of nowhere. That's usually a fake out. That is not a real breakout. Real breakouts build volume gradually. So you can see that as we've broken the high, they tried to go below, very non-committal, and then look at volume. It starts to build more and more. And look at this, it looks like a stair step. And at no point do you get a massively large candle that eclipses all of the other ones around it. It's all just steady growing, right? Steady growth of volume. That's a real breakout. So then going against that, maybe there's a scalp, there's an opposing area, but in general, if I see that, I will not try and take opposing trades. The mean reversion D needs to go to the doghouse, and the continuation D needs to show up. I actually had a pretty decent Friday. I grabbed about 110, 111 ticks out of it. So yeah. Amanda says, I love using equivolume for the reasoning you're explaining. Yeah, on Ninja you have equivolume. Love equivolume candles. Fingers crossed we get them on Topstep X at some point. But yeah, love equivolume. You can actually see the fatter candles kind of just building up. The fat little candles. By the way, there's something going on in the co-working space. They're like hoovering or vacuuming, as our American friends say. So I don't know whether that's being picked up. I do have a noise reduction here, but there are some works. There's always works in London. It's never quiet. So yeah. Yeah, Bruno is confirming that I'm on for Thursday fast markets. That's awesome. That would be nice. Haven't been on fast markets for a while, a few weeks, I think. That will be fun. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are saying sound is perfect. Disruptive panels. I have my headsets to max and I hear almost nothing. That means the RNN is working. Okay. Yay. Yeah, so if you have OBS, there is this thing called the noise suppression. And I don't know whether it's this machine. I'm not certain whether it's the hardware or whether it's just one of their filters. But it's called the RNN noise suppression. And it's probably the best one that I've heard so far. So every time I have either the air conditioning on or I'm in like noisy environments like today, the RNN suppression seems to work pretty well. So yeah. Jake Nichols is asking me, hope it's not a bother for the vacuum. No, they're like literally just outside, but like I don't really care, so it's fine. All right, are we making a new high? So we haven't, so here's the thing, we haven't really started LME trading just yet, but we've now made a new high. The way my bots are set up is to actually scan the highs and the lows before LME open begins. So we still have about 20 minutes before LME starts trading. And the bots would now be scanning the false breakout bot that I've got. It will be scanning for the exact establishment of the high and the low right at LME open. So if this kind of continues to push higher and higher and higher until 11:40 my time, now it's 11:25. Somebody's walking upstairs. Something will fall through the ceiling. Yeah, until LME opens, if it keeps edging higher, that becomes a new high, and the new high, and the new high. But then after LME opens, we can look for the false breakouts. For now, I would be more interested in the false breakout because of the way the volume looks. Despite this massive run up in Tokyo and through the first part of London. But if you look at how price action looks on a 5-minute chart, it's like all overlapping bars, smash, pullback, overlapping, overlapping, smash, pullback. So it's got this like pattern where I think that we're running out of steam here. And at that point, I would rather do like a little short. How big it's going to be, I don't know. Nobody does. We can just observe. So I would like to see one exhaustion candle coming in. So it will need to be pretty sizable. So if you look at the volume area, it would need to eclipse all of these bars here. So all of these here. So it has to be at least twice the size of the bar that came in a previous 5-minute chart. So it has to show up like a big jump. And then after that, we can shoot for a reversal. If that doesn't happen, there's no setup. So you need to wait. It's a lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. JDVL says, so for metals to use LME time, how about actual exchange times? So I have on my other chart, you'll notice I have, you will notice that I have three sessions, but these two are overlapping. Well, because LN actually stands for LME, it can be for London Open as well, but because this is a metal, I literally look first at the LME Open. Once COMEX begins, you can look at the COMEX values. But the fact remains is that LME hours are from my 11:40 till 5 p.m. And that is where the majority of the movement is. So, you know, the volume definitely kicks up for COMEX, 100%. But if you're looking for false breakouts or you're looking for very good pullbacks against the trend, and then the overnight fake out and a reversal for a long, those are very juicy to me. I mean, very juicy. I love those setups because they offer very low risk because you're getting involved at the, Asia low, effectively. And if they happen at the right time of day, that can be amazing. What is the right time of day? If you're trading COMEX, it's going to be, let's use Chicago time, from 9 a.m. all the way till about 10:30 a.m. So basically that time, I call it the post and white cut, when the Forex option expiries smash through at 9 a.m. Central. And then after that, into the Euro close. So that is a prime time to look for setups. But before that, we have the LME that frequently brings a pretty big wobble before regular trading hours start, before COMEX starts. But remember that LME is actually really important when it comes to setting the pricing for metals across the board. And they have some weird metals there. They have nickel. They do have copper. They have aluminum, or aluminum, as our American friends say. Aluminum. We have tin. They trade tin. And then they have like this curb trading for 10 minutes at the end of each session. There's two sessions. There's the morning session and the afternoon session. So when there's curb trading, they trade everything for 10 minutes. And it's called ring trading because every 5 minutes, the metal changes. So there's a ring, and ding, and then another metal gets traded. That happens in like 5-minute increments. It's really odd. It's really odd, but it's fascinating to watch. Joe says, catching up on your stream. For GC, I have almost identical confluence. For gold, mine is at 37.61.9. Overnight high. Yeah. So is mine. So we've just moved it up because, like I said, the overnight high, once you catch up, Joe, the overnight high moves a little bit. And right now, pre-LME, that's where it is. If it pushes up even higher, and it's not 11:40 yet, so we have 9 minutes for the high to get established. And if there's nothing new, then 37.61.9 stays the high. So this is, again, working with the market-generated information. and just doing exactly the same that my bots are doing. So effectively just scanning for the overnight high and low establishment, and then looking for either a fake out, which I would like to see today because it's way too high up for me. So let me put it this way, I don't want to be a buyer here. I might want to be a buyer lower, but I will only become a seller if my exhaustion volume candles pop up. If there's no exhaustion volume candle and it just carries on higher, don't care, don't want it, because I'm not going to be doing longs into the ADR high. It's a quantitative extreme. So JDVL says, say aluminium again. You mean the American way? Aluminum, aluminium, aluminium, aluminum. I can say it both ways. Aluminium is usually how we were taught and how I've been taught both in Serbian, where you say aluminium with a bit of an accent, and then in British it's a little bit softer, aluminium. Just the L's are a little bit softer. But yeah. And yet our American friends you guys have decided to just exclude half of the letters from that word. It's like, let's just make it aluminum. It's too long, right? So let's just go with aluminum. Disruptive Panel says, would you recommend learning to code trading algos? I've coded Java, C++, C#. So with coding, I find, so I don't, I've done a bit of JavaScript. I've never done Java, so no idea. I've tried to learn like C# at one point, but honestly for finance, Python has these ready-made libraries. If you go down the road of C# or C++, it's almost like the old stuff. Like think of the of people having to code everything from the beginning. You know, you basically have to do a whole bunch of tests, and you know there were humans who were doing that. Well, now you have AI that mostly automates that side of things. So if I'm looking at bots and trading, I just know that Python is really, really good with data, really good, more so than C#. You can do the same thing, but you would need to spend time, blood, sweat, and tears to actually make it work properly. If you're a very good coder, maybe that's something you want to do. But everybody that I know who is involved with any kind of trading bots, they usually go towards Python and R because of the libraries. They're just like ready-made. So you can just load them up, import library, and then you're done. And then you can mess with other things. Like for example, if you're using TopstepX API, I decided to make an entire library with different constructors so that I can make it modular rather than having to code everything from the beginning. So the only thing that is changeable and mutable in my code is the actual bots that I'm importing. So the scripts for the bots are separate. If I'm doing anything with bots, they will all be run from one main app that holds the user hub, market data streams, and right now I have 3 streams running. So I have RBOB, GC, and Copper. And at the moment, I have about 3 working bots. Working on another 3, 2 are almost done, but it's going to still take me a while to test those new ones. So that's been now about a month of me working on that. And yeah, finally got it all going. So let's see. So yeah, so Disruptive Panda, I love coding bots. I absolutely love it. So I'm somebody who's okay with coding. I am a nerd, but you know, when it comes to like big projects, I wouldn't take that on myself because I know that I'm not that great. Right, we've got 4 minutes until LME opens. So it looks like we've established the overnight high at 3761.9. yeah, so for me, I wouldn't take on like an enormous project, but I can absolutely do utilities. I can absolutely do bots that are all running from the main app. No problem there. It's just because I'm a bit messy as a coder, I know that that wouldn't be up to a professional standard because I have a team who does that, and they are just, I'm really messy. I'm just like, yeah, that'll do. It's like log, yeah, just print that there. That's fine. So not the best, right? So only I can read my code effectively. It still all has the same execution flow correctly, but yeah, I'm just a bit messy. Yeah. Let's have a look. Disruptive Panda says you get pre-code libraries. That's sweet. You get certain libraries that are done for you, yes. But if you want something like a library for Topstep, you're gonna have to create that yourself from the API documentation, and then maybe you can use AI to use the constructors from that library. And I actually had a bit of a problem because I wanted to use this linked order ID from the Topstep X API, and I had a typo. So instead of ID, I put LD, and they look the same. So Granny D definitely needs some glasses. And then I spent like 3 days not understanding why it's not placing the stops. I'm like, where's my stop? Why it's not working? It doesn't work. And then I did actually run it through AI, and it picked it up. And it said, you seem to have a typo in your code. And I was like, thank you, AI, for making me feel like a complete muppet. It's just lovely. Oh, no, I'm not selling my algos ever. No, sorry. Yeah. Dre Market says, in Estonian, the aluminium sounds the same. I sound just like Croatian. Yeah, we all sound pretty similar, don't we? So it's, in a way, it's Slavic languages almost sound like a different dialect of the same language. And for a lot of people, we can actually all understand each other. Even though I'll be honest, even though Russian has the same words, I can never understand it. Like I understand one word out of context every so often. I'm like, oh. Like for example, there's the For All Man's Land, right? So now I've got to a point where it's like season 4 and they're all working together. And they're calling Happy Valley, again, couldn't understand the first word, but the second word was Dolina, which is the same word as in Serbian. But then the other word in front of it was supposed to be happy. For us, it would be Srečna Dolina. But in Russian, it seems to be something different. So I was like, no idea. So I gotta read it because I read Cyrillic. Right, 1 minute. 1 minute. Are we open? Not quite. 17 seconds. LME. Now, this is also not going to be like the New York Open where it's just whoosh, everything is just starting. But a little bit of volume should start coming in now. And we'll see which side they want to take it. Remember, I still want to see the exhaustion candle and attempted move through the overnight high. Do we sometimes have days when we don't have that event and it still trickles all the way down? Yes, but that's not what I'm looking for. So I want a very, very particular event to happen past 3761.9. So yeah. So let's have a look. You use your bots on MTA5? No, so I actually just have PyCharm, so I just run all of my bots from there. For AI purposes, I do use Cursor, and underneath is ChatGPT 5 with Claude Sonnet. So hopefully that can help. I found all the other ones make too many mistakes, but the Cursor AI, the reason why I chose it is because it can take up multiple files in a context. And I don't think you can have all the rest of them just like you go to actual ChatGPT and just go, oh, multiple files. I don't think it carries context, whereas Cursor AI is better for like multi-file projects. So the others just didn't do it for me. I was like, you look at the code that AI has supposedly done, and you're like, what a load of nonsense. It's like, what have you done? And then you try and tell it, and then it creates more nonsense. So it's like, it's not everything it's cracked up to be. So be very careful vibe coding. What I use it for is to just have a shell of something that I've already done, and then I make it use that for contextual purposes. But I still have to stop it every so often because it loves experimenting. I have a fully made library with like constructors and everything. And if I don't specifically tell it to use that, it literally starts coming up with what it's calling experimental models. And I was like, there's nothing experimental about it. You're using nonsense methods that don't exist. It's like you do realize you have to use the actual API calls from the actual URLs, not just kind of wing it and go, well, this is the industry standard. It's like, I don't care. just do what I tell you to do. So yeah, I've had quite a few disagreements. And because of that, you know, if you're not, I would say if you're not a decent coder right from the start, you will probably look at the code that it generates and you will go, wow, it's amazing. But then it just doesn't work. And then if you don't know what the workaround actually should be, sometimes it gets stuck in a loop. There's in particular, I found that it struggles with try except blocks. So it gets itself in a complete mess. It's like, oh, there's a try except loop that's outside of the structure. Let me try and move it. And then it moves it. Then it still doesn't work. And it's like, oh, I seem to be missing. And I'm like, okay, just leave it. I'll do it for you. And, you know, it's just not go there. Trading Strategies Market says, you are describing exactly what I'm going through with AI. I even take ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini verdicts and compare them. Yeah. I honestly, I wouldn't rely on it too much. I would just go, you know, make whatever you want to make and then use that as almost like a training model and then just tell it to use that. And I actually explicitly have to tell it not to change any infrastructure. Because if you don't, like, for example, things that were happening, even though I had my constructors and everything, and I would just say, well, just drag out the API client from here, and it would just not even import the API client, or it wouldn't put the OS path in the first part of the code. And then it's like, it's not working. I cannot find it. I cannot find. And I was like, you don't have a path. What are you doing? And then it comes back and goes, oh, yes, that is a great idea. Thank you so much. And I'm like, it's the basics. So yeah, we kind of, you know, I make it feel stupid if AI has feelings, but it also can make me look stupid with the typos too. Two-way street. Yeah, Disruptive Planet says, I'm inspired, got to clean up the coding cobwebs. Look, I haven't properly coded myself for 3.5 years. And when I came back to it, it's quite funny because I was looking at it and opened up a piece of code that I wrote, I don't know, about 5-6 years ago. And I was just like, couldn't make out anything. You know, when you've been away from actual coding for so long, it's really not that easy to kind of get back into it. But as soon as I started thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, hold on. Yes, I recognize that. So it's like, okay, so here I'm loading data. This is the schedules for, you know, liquidating or trade windows, depends on what I'm trying to do. And then slowly, literally over the course of like about a week, it all came back to me. So yeah, looks like word spaghetti or lasagna. Absolutely. And you just look at it and go, I coded this? Really? And there was no AI back then. If there was, it was pretty rudimentary. But I never used it before, literally like a month ago. What benefits do I get streaming for Topstep? Well, I'm not alone. I have you guys, and I also have my Topstep people, colleagues. Trading can get very lonely, very lonely. So it's just you in a room, and we all go through ups and downs, you know, going through a cycle of you're doing really well, then you get a little bit of drawdown, then you're doing really well, then a little bit of drawdown. It never ends. It's like a cyclical thing. And when you are feeling really alone and there's nobody else to share anything, you can't, like, I love what I do, and I can't really talk about trading to my husband because he's just not interested. All right, so we're tagging that high, but there is no exhaustion volume yet. So I need to wait. My mom doesn't really understand what I do. Most of my friends, those that are left, they have no idea. So if I have a, you know, a good day, I want to be able to talk it through with someone. If you don't have that, it's a very lonely existence. You're just there, and you're sitting there just going, okay, that's a great day. Who do I talk to about this? And then there's no one. And then you go, this is not how I imagined it, boo-hoo. But, you know, I've been involved with Topstep for 10 years in some shape or form. I was their first female trader, female funded trader. Christ, say that 10 times fast, right? Ever since, I basically just kept the friendships. So Hogue is a very close friend of mine. Coach Hoop is as well. I know Eddie pretty well. So, you know, there's been like a community of people. Coach Ray, Coach Ray started as my one of my students, but then in a month he just sorted out everything, all the problems that he may have had, and he was one of the 2 people that have just got it, like literally instantly. So he was amazing. And he actually holds one of the longest Topstep live accounts over there. One of. So it's not the longest, but it's one of. And yeah, so what are the benefits? Well, many benefits, right? So you have people, you have colleagues. You get to do something every day. You know, for me, you know, it's very important to try to stay active despite my chronic illness. And I have a chronic illness. So, you know, some days I can't even trade because I'm too light sensitive or I'm not feeling well. And on those days, it's nice if you have some sort of income kind of coming through somewhere. So even if I feel terrible and I just cannot get myself to, you know, get out of bed or anything, I can, and I've streamed from the bed sometimes. This was on my streams. Now, I have gotten better over the last sort of year or so. So I'm a little bit stronger, but I'm still dealing with a chronic illness, basically. So what are the benefits? The benefits are that you get an amazing community. You're a part of something bigger than yourself. You're educating people. I'm looking forward to every time I see a post of somebody going, Dee, you've helped me so much. I just got my first payout. Like, you can't replace that, right? And I know that for some people it's like, no, but, you know, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And for me, you know, I have the house that I want. I have, you know, the dogs that I want. I have the life that I want. I'm not chasing anything anymore. It's just I'm going to be 45 very soon. And I just want a comfortable sort of existence and, you know, to be able to trade as much as I can, but to also be able to share the knowledge because, you know, knowledge not shared is what? Knowledge lost. So who am I going to impart my knowledge? I don't have any human children. Suppose I could get Bernard, my biggest dog, who uses buttons to go buy, sell, buy, sell. Overnight high. I don't know how that will work because he can't really read. He's very bright, but don't know if I'll be able to teach him how to read profile and Asia highs and lows. So yeah. Paul H says, my typing is worse than usual as I have a cough, and I've been awake for most of the night. Oh no! Oh dear. Yeah, it's that time of the year when everybody starts getting sick. Somehow I seem to be not catching anything. Just want to make sure that the vets are not calling me. All right, so what do we have now? I think we might be getting a bit of a steady increase higher. The volume is still sub that moving average, so I'm gonna wait because I think this is way too high to be buying anything. And anytime, let me just look at the daily chart. Yeah, anytime gold goes into an all-time high, it has this nasty habit, a dirty habit, of going into an all-time high, and then at some point of the week just smashes down like 500 ticks. Sometimes I catch that, okay? Sometimes I don't. But as a contrarian, it is something I look for. So I still want to see some kind of a reversal somewhere. But as I'm a pretty selective trader, I would still like to wait for the exhaustion candle to hit, and then providing that this overnight high does not doesn't budge, so it stays there as a resistance, I would still like to be a seller somewhere. If I don't manage to get the exhaustion candle and it all just starts to reverse and then slowly trickle to the opposite side, I don't want it because that's not the setup that we're after. And that would be just guesswork. So if I look at my bots, and whenever I'm working on the similar strategy that my bots have, if the bot is not entering, I shouldn't either, right? Now, I coded them. I know exactly what they're looking for. And in the bot, I want two things. I want the exhaustion candle that is 1.7 times bigger than all the other candles when we're looking at a 5-minute chart. And I want commitment of price action to stay below the overnight high and for that to hold for at least 5 minutes, ideally into 15 minutes. But again, it's going to be a case by case. For my bot, because it can scan the volume a lot quicker and better than I can, that's just a two-step process that it can do very easily. For me, I had to stare at the volume and I have to go, is it time? Is it bigger? How bigger is it? Should I go in? And this is where having a bot that just does it all automatically is absolutely fine and preferable. And then if the bot doesn't enter the short, it won't enter the high either, right? It won't go, oh yeah, let's just go long from here because it's way too high and there's no conditions here. So if I, as a human, then start doing stupid trades above the overnight high that has already exhausted the average daily range, what is that called? FOMO. It's called FOMO. So yeah. AVS Phoenix Trading says, Dee, I always enjoy this time with you and learn so much. Hey, thank you for spending time with me. I enjoy seeing you as well because you always have great questions. Cheryl O, I have chronic fatigue syndrome, so trading is a nice way to earn income. Join the club. I have myalgic encephalomyelitis and chronic fatigue syndrome. And maybe POTS. Maybe POTS, because my heart rate does go a little bit nuts for no apparent reason. One of the times I went to see my mom, and because of the exertion of the flight, which is only like 2.5 hours, it's not that massive, but I had to walk through the airport, and I always forget how long, it's not big, but it's long, the Belgrade airport. And I got to my mom's, and I started feeling a little bit sick and like nauseous and stuff. Now, my mom is like 78, so she's like, is your blood pressure okay? I was like, I have no idea. So we measured it, and my systolic blood pressure went to like 170. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. My diastolic blood pressure was like 80. It's not normal. So yeah. Okay. A bit of a commitment to some price action being a little more lively. Do you see that? It went up and then went whoop. I also don't have bookmap today, so I feel like I'm flying blind. Let's see what happens here. If they smash it down, but really it should be like a green candle. So they should really kind of try and make a committed effort, concerted effort to go above the high, and then usually that big green volume represents exhaustion. For now, we just have a little bit of a faster price action happening. The volume bar is trying to cross over the moving average. So volume is slowly growing. $35.74 gold seems a good point to wait. Trader Ken says $35.74. Yeah. Honestly, I would want much lower than that. For a long, I want 37.20. 37.20. Because then, if we do get there, and let's say we're getting up to the euro close, for example, then I can run a very slow trade all the way back to VWAP. And, you basically run it to half through the overnight range. That's like the target. Sometimes you can run these to 75% of the overnight range. So depending on what I'm trying to achieve, I will either aim for 50% of the overnight range as a target, or on the longs, 75%, if not 100. So it's a very systematic target, it doesn't, yeah. Use the live YouTube bookmap transmission. They do it for ES and NQ, mate. I trade gold, copper, platinum, RBOB. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be streaming those. In fact, I think Topstep is one of the few trading channels out there where we do represent some other markets as well, apart from everybody just being an NQ addict. Trading market says are past 7 evals today, just buying GC. Yeah, buying GC is the way to go. I missed that you were looking for the run to VWAP. So CWA, that is going to be a case by case. Sometimes I think we're in a more range-bound conditions, and let's just say the VWAP is in the middle of a range, it's as good of a target as any. So I prefer to use it as a target than as a starting point, unless we're in a very strong trend, and then it just slopes a little bit better. Right now, I would say that the slope is not that great, despite the big move up. I still think that this slope is very meh. Very meh. What would be your risk for a long at ADR? For ADR low, you mean? So if we do get down to 37.21, because if you're talking about longs at ADR high, the only time I would do that is if we smash and ignore ADR high and go much higher, and then we have a little bit of a pullback down to ADR high, former ADR high. But as a general rule, I will use a volatility scale stop. Right now on gold, that's between 50 and 70 ticks, so it's not small. But that allows me to capture anywhere from like 120, 140, and pretty frequently 200 ticks. So that means smaller size, Smaller size, more tickage. So less risk overall with bigger profit margin. That's my jam. I don't like doing scalps. I stopped doing them years ago because I can't be bothered. But yeah. Paul A says, Bookmap is showing 100 lot at 37.40. Okay, so that's basically VWAP. And 83 at 37.20. So really, the liquidity is to the downside, even on Bookmap. Thanks, Paul. That's very helpful. See? So somebody's asking me, what do you get out of being with Topstep? Paul giving me what's going on with Bookmap without me having to have it and choke my machine whilst I'm away from my regular trading desk. That's what I get. It's trading buddies, right? Everybody needs that. Talking shop. We all love trading so much. Like, I couldn't imagine anything worse than just to be alone and lonely. Like, this is why I worked for prop firms. I was, reasonably well capitalized already after about 3-4 years of doing this. But I was alone, and I wanted to learn more. And there's always something new to learn. If you don't think so, then I don't know. Maybe trading is not the best thing to be in on. I love learning how different people are looking at things. Just more recently we met Joseph A. And he has a completely different way of looking at the markets, and yet, just like me and Coach Robert, who also has yet a completely different way of looking at the markets, we always come up with the same prices and levels of interest. So it's like, why? Because we all look at price action. It's all the same thing. But what fascinates me to no end is how different people get to the same conclusion. Love that. Like no other job gives you that. Honestly, it's just absolutely amazing. Cheryl O says, I just passed my eval now, working to get my buffer. Lovely. That's what we want to hear. M. Musa says, I messed up my personal account and prop breached my prop account. No. Don't even know what to do now. Okay, so step 1, don't trade your personal. Step 2, do you see this account risk settings? Now, for now, you have to do this every single day. At some point in the future, I reckon they will make this a weekly lockout. So set a personal daily loss limit. That is your current account balance, or if you're just starting an account, the maximum loss limit that they give you divided by 10. For a $2,000 50K account, so maximum drawdown is $2,000, $200 for a daily loss limit. Whatever number of trades you do in a day, you have to size it down so much that you have enough space to do them. So those of us who only do 1 to 3 trades per day, we can trade larger, because I can do one mini on, let's say, RBOB, and that will only cost me about $270 or so. So therefore, I can do 1 trade on RBOB per day and still push it on the mini side. Now, if you trade more, if you're trading 15, 20, 50 trades a day, and the reason why I say that is because I have been watching how the VIP traders are trading. Very few of them will actually do like 4 or 5 trades. A lot, like those that are doing really well, they do less trades, so they will stick to about 4 or 5. Always nice to see. But the ones who are not having that much consistency, like they might have like a couple of days of doing really well, and then everything kind of goes pear-shaped. Let's keep it PG. They typically trade 20, 50, 100. I know a lot of them have been trying to change that, but whatever number of trades you do per day, you can actually set it in this section. So you have 2 ways of controlling things. If you're struggling about trading micros, and then at some point your monkey brain takes over, you can't trade anymore because the monkey brain knows nothing about levels or charts or buy and sell. All that it's trying to do is to keep you safe from a very misguided perception. So Simple block. Simple block. You can block out the minis. But the crucial step through all of this is once you set everything, before you do any trading, block out risk settings for the day. Every single day. No matter what you do before you trade. No, oh, I'll just do one. No. Make it into an autopilot routine. You sit down, go into risk settings, check that the daily loss limit is divided by 10, maybe even 20 at some point, but let's say 10. Let's say that you use 5 maximum trades per day. And let's say that you want NQ blocked out as a full symbol to do that. If you still struggle with position limits, if you scroll a little bit down, you will see this thing that says symbol contract limits. What is that? Well, if you want to, let's say, do MNQ, because I know that you guys are just MNQ addicts, and you struggle sticking to 2 micros, you press this, and then you go add limit. And now, once all of this is locked out, and let's say that you also want the symbol block to be NQ, these are all measures to protect yourself from yourself, really. And then you say 5, and personal daily loss limit, let's do, this is a bigger one, so let's do 450. Block and liquidate, so that is what you should have for 150K account. M&Q, 2 micros, NQ symbol block. You press save, and then you go up to the big button to save all this. Block that out. Now, the system will not allow you to trade an NQ full contract. It just won't. You press the button, it's going to say, computer says no. If you try to enter 3 MNQs, it's also going to say, you've gone over the risk limit. No. So you will be forced to follow rules because some of us need a lot more shackles to make our brains kind of really get it. You know? All right, let's see. Buy every gold dip and get the free money. Yeah, that works until it doesn't. So for me, this is too high. So even if it goes massive, I would still want to see a decent pullback. So yeah, pullback to 37.54 is not going to cut it. I might consider it, like if we do truly get, you know, some traction, 37.40. So Paul said that there are some orders sitting there. That lines up with VWAP as well. This is Globex VWAP, and I use the one open, high, low, close divided by 4. Because normally it's open, high, low, close. So no, open, high, low divided by 3. That's the default. I want this one because I feel like it gives a slightly better average. Yeah, okay, let's see. Himanshu wants to know, hello D, was just wondering, do you also keep a long-term portfolio or do you pick up long-term stock options instead? So my options trading is never really more than 45 days. I don't do 0 DTEs, but I do really like 45 days options. I do have a long-term portfolio. Some of the stocks that you might know in there would be Palantir. So I picked that up a few years ago when it was like $9. And I actually had somebody during that little drawdown period in equities. I was like, so do you still like Palantir? And he kept misspelling Palantir as well. He was saying planter. And I was like, first of all, learn what the stock name is. And second of all, yes, I still like it. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, come down 5% from the top. And it was like, I don't know, it went down to 120 from 175 or something. And I was like, mate, I'm in from $9. Like, I'm never selling this. This is my pension. Unless there's like a semi-apocalypse and we all have to go Mad Max style, machete and leather pauldrons. I'm not selling Palantir. So yeah. Oh, I see you guys have noticed there's the auto OCO orders. Please don't ask me. I have no idea. Coach Robert is going to give you the rundown of how these OCO orders are truly working. I'm not the right person for that because the only time I've used OCOs, which are not true OCOs, are position brackets, and they are located in this area here. So if you basically go, let's say I want to risk, I don't know, $200, and then I want to keep my like let's say 2.5 R, so it's 450. This is the only way that I've ever used risk brackets. I know that we have the OCOs, but I'm still going to wait because I need to watch Coach Robert giving us the lecture on it too. I'm not the right person. I know that you think that all of us here know everything what's going on, but just remember, I'm still just a trader. I don't do IT for Topstep, right? So I have no idea how it works and how to switch it on, and I don't want to mess things up, right? So I don't want to show you the wrong way. So let's just wait for Coach Robert to give us a proper lecture, and then I'll learn, and then maybe in the future, once I learn from Coach Robert, I can tell you how to use it properly, okay? Do we have a deal? Right, let's have a look. Cryptic Tail Whispers, he says, Cryptic Tail Whispers says, best show ever. Lol, computer says no. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you like my little humor here. All right. Right, N says, awesome new time slot for your show. Usually your show was in my can't be bothered to look at the chart time. Hey, you and me both, man, especially since we didn't have DAX. So I was like, oh God, great. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is only a one-off for this week. I think from next week, for next Monday, we're going to be moving to a new time slot. So think about this as like a rehearsal, dress rehearsal for the new time. And I think it's going to be better for everybody because we have, you know, a little bit more movement. The volume starts kicking up. But yeah, for some reason, they couldn't get all the assets ready just yet. So fortunately, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have to go back to watching paint dry. Boo. Yeah, and then hopefully from next Monday we can all hang during this new time slot. Yeah, so volume's still very non-committal. I mean, come on, it is Monday, so I suppose that might have something to do with it. Most of the move was done during Asia. And yeah, I'm not getting the exhaustion candles. I'm not getting committed volume for a breakout either, so we can just basically sit and maybe wait for COMEX, because that could be a better time slot. Sometimes what can happen with this overnight high is that it's still a possibility. So from this point onwards, I keep the 1140 as my overnight high. And then what the bot will do, it will count both the historical and the real-time breakouts as they're happening. And then it's going to say breakout happened once, breakout happened twice. Like tomorrow, I can maybe show you that when I'm back home and on my actual computer when I'm running the bots. You can see what it says in the logs. It also gives me the position of the current price in relation to the overnight range. So right now, it will be saying 102% above. So it means, yes, breakout, 2 breakouts historically, but no move because we're slightly above the Asia range. So It's a very kind of a binary decision process, I suppose, where you either have the conditions to enter or you do not. Try to make yourself into that kind of a binary decision trader, whatever style that you're using, even if you are instinctual, but at least have something that can tell you, yes, we're going in versus no, no action. And that will help you, because then there won't be a question in your mind. Should I go? Am I going? Should I go? Should I? And sometimes Monday can be a bit slow to actually continue the movement or to give us the reversal. So for now, it looks like Monday for my time slot is just hanging at the overnight high. It's my point of interest and point of reference, but I do not have anything to tell me that this is a breakout or a fake out. So it's just like sitting there at the exhaustion. So we need to wait until somebody with bigger pockets moves this thing, and then we'll have a better idea. Because, you know, when it comes to watching tape, if there's nothing happening on the tape, there's nothing to watch. You're just like, we're just hanging on the high, and nothing. So yeah. How do you find my take profit target? So for this particular setup, which would be a false breakout in a reversal, I have a couple of targets. Because this is outside of the trend, I use 50% of the overnight range as my target. Whatever happens, however much further it goes, I don't care. My target is 50% of the overnight range for shorts. Now, if we rotate all the way down to the overnight low, then we do a breakout and then a turnaround. I will run the longs that are with the trend to 75% of the entire overnight range. So again, systematic. There's no thinking. It's based on the overnight range. And that means that the target will be different. So it's not always going to be the same, because the overnight range is not going to be the same, right? But it makes it scalable to whatever Asia has done. So you're, instead of just going, well, I'm just going to get 2R, just going to take 70 ticks. I do have a call, but I cannot answer it. Okay, just going to call them back. All right, so we have another 10 minutes here to hang together. But yeah, it doesn't look like I will find a trade just yet. Monday, super high. I don't trade Asia most of the time, so yeah. Still looking at the same thing though. So 2 price points. One would be this overnight high. So if we ever get that exhaustion candle, would like to be a seller, however that looks. If it rotates without me and it starts to just rotate all the way down, I'm not looking for more longs in the middle of this range. I would actually ask it to go all the way down to the opposite side of the range, which is at the minimum 37.21, but I would like to peek to dip a toe underneath 37.18, because that is the Globex open low, and then to return above that area. At that point, I'm very much interested in longs. If that comes today, it comes today. If it doesn't, I will stay out. We don't have to trade every day either. And I don't know, I might look at RBOB or something else if gold is not playing ball. This is where being able to change products is actually a better idea. Because if you still want to trade, you look for opportunities in other markets. Okay. Let me catch up on chat. Not that easy on the laptop. Mercado says, what does ADR low mean? Average daily range low. It's an exhaustion point. It's a quantitative extreme. It is taken as a mean average from the previous 10 to 14 days. And the way I look at it from the point of view of average session range as well as average daily range. Depends on the time of day that I'm looking at. So yeah. Trader Can says, do you use human in the loop in your bot, or is it more like an agent? So look, I have the ability to stop it and to take off the order whenever I want. But for the most part, actually letting it do its thing, it's just how it is. Because remember that my models are not based on some random strategy I just stumbled across on the internet. It is based on something I've been doing for 12 years, 13 years as a prop trader. And I've seen these setups over and over. So what I've done is just to take my models and to effectively just code them up, automate them. So I would be doing the same thing. If I'm doing my job properly, then I'm doing the same thing as the bot. I'm letting the trades play out. If we run out of time or volume, I will interfere and I will take it off early. Other than that, there's nothing else. But at the same time, I will not run all of my bots all at once. I will be the one to decide which of them I will switch on. And because I've made it quite modular, I can very easily switch off the ones that I don't think have a chance today or are lower probability. So in a way, yes, I am still very much present in there. If anyone thinks that by automating what you're doing is going to get rid of your emotions, just try running a bot that has like 3 to 4 hours to reach your targets, but you yourself are a grasshopper, and then you're just going, oh, I need to take it off. Oh, I need to take it off. And then you take it off because you're having a moment. Nothing's going to prevent you from doing that. So you really need to just first have models that you trust yourself. If you don't, I don't know, that makes it all a lot more difficult. So I wouldn't start from just like, oh yeah, let me see if this would work. I always go from, I know what works. Therefore, this is what we're doing. I don't let it come up with a strategy for me. That will be the day that that's possible, is the day to get worried about AI. So, yeah. Would you say it's more like developing a training model for trading for now? I already have my model, so I'm training it effectively. But yeah, we always used to have a bit of a training code, like we used TensorFlow for that, but it was really just like machine learning. So it would just go through like point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, and then it would spew out like which combination of the two, given the time period, was better. Now I like go the middle for my bots, so I will not push it like to the extremes. So if it's giving me a strategy that might be able to take 82% of the time, let's say it takes 30 ticks, but that will make it into negative risk reward. I don't like that. So I would rather that it has a 60% accuracy and 1.5 hour. I would go for that. Personal preference, obviously, but I just know that those kind of bots are more stable over time. Bjorn says, how do you feel about using GEX levels from MentorQ as key price points for overnight M&Q trading after price conversion? Why would you need to convert it with NQ? NQ has its own levels. You don't need to convert it, so I don't know where you're converting them from. Is there something I might be overlooking? Well, that would be one thing. NQ has its own options. So if anything, QQQ and NDX is something to convert, but NQ has its own options. So they're pretty good and pretty accurate. Obviously, NQ being NQ, they're going to be slipping a bit. It's like, whoa, we've gone up way over. Let's back up a bit. That's NQ for you. So as long as you keep that in mind. Yeah. So yeah, smash and then reclaim. But yeah, that's a good, it's definitely good starting point for a plan, actually. You know, what are the end of day options levels doing? Thank you. Yeah. Live stream from X, right? I'm on X, am I? Okay. Trading the markets at Oren. Does she ever trade live or XFA? I'm on a live account, but right now I'm testing my bots, and I do trade live. I do trade live. Yeah. I actually think just 102 years she trades. 102 years? Instead in dog years. Taking advantage of the looks to still in the stream. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I never trade. I never trade live. Yeah, I just have a live account for no reason. Yeah, I'm here just because I'm not an UGBug. It's the only reason. Yeah. All right, guys, that is it for now. So, like I said, you know, I'm out of my normal office environment anyway. Don't have my bot. Shorts are still going to be on. So this this candle that we just had on a doji. Where's my mouse? There it is. It's kind of bigger than the rest of them, but not enough. So it needs to be twice the size. And you know, for Oren, I'm sorry if I'm a very selective trader, and if you would prefer to watch Grasshopper's trading. But good luck to you. That's all I'm going to say. I might not be the most exciting trader, but when I do strike, it's usually correct. So, and that means waiting for good setups. If I don't have all my conditions, I will not be executing a trade just because the chat is saying, "Did you ever trade live? Did you ever trade live?" And she, like, yes, she trades live, but maybe not when you wanted to. You know, I'm not here to press buttons for you. I'm here to find a good setup. When we find, like, we found a good setup, I think it was Wednesday, right? Last week. Or whenever we had the bot executing, remember? That was one of the good trades. And then I replicated that in my live account as well, because I managed to get in once I was like, is this, okay, let's go in. But then in the live account, I actually sniped it from the opposite side as well. Oops. That's my microphone. Anyways, yeah, let's finish up the stream. I am going to be on tomorrow for the old time, so I'm sorry. But yeah, this is probably going to be the last week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and yeah. And then hopefully, just hopefully, we can start on this time from next Monday. Enjoy the rest of the day. Lock out those risk settings. Don't allow your monkey brain to do your trading for you. I'm going to go and wait for the outcome of my doggo surgery. I'm going to be chilling in the co-working space all day today. I will see you again tomorrow for the old time, 3:30 a.m. Central. Until then, this has been the Eurotrade. I'm Marcus Stalker D. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.